This was a late night deal. The rumor was that Portland had met with Damian Lillard about 2 weeks ago, just prior to the start of the training camp. And they had indicated that they were not going to trade him unless they could make it turn out to be a win-win deal. And win-win meant Portland was going to get volumes of talent. Well, they tried with Miami and they didn't like what Miami offered. It wasn't enough in the Miami deal. They tried to get a third team and a three-way deal with Miami and somebody else and couldn't find the right combination. And then Milwaukee, which already has an NBA championship, shows up and says, we're willing to do this. And they brought Phoenix into the conversation. At the end of the day, Damian Lillard, who's got 4 years and 200 plus million left on a contract, doesn't go to Miami where he wanted. He goes to Milwaukee, but he goes to play with Giannis and he goes to play with Chris Middleton. So they got themselves 3 stars in Milwaukee wearing that green jersey. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a really, really good basketball team. And now the general consensus is that's the team you're going to have to beat if you think you can raise somebody's NBA trophy. Lillard, 32 points per game, not a selfish player. He's carried the Trailblazers. So he goes there to form a threesome in the Bucks lineup. Portland gets young guard Jrue Holiday, 16 points per game, really active player. They get DeAndre Ayton, 16 points, 10 rebounds per game with the Suns. He's not a stoic, in-your-face physical force center. He's more of a slick guy, but he'll help them. And Portland also gets a number 1 pick and the right to flip other number 1 picks with Phoenix as a byproduct of this trade. So the Trailblazers, even though Lillard goes, Portland's got a lot of good young guards. They're going to add to that equation. It's just going to be a very different team. And the Suns, to me, this is a strange aspect. They soured on Ayton, just either the fact that he was not a gamer every game of the year, and maybe he wasn't a real hard worker, although statistically had nice numbers. But they get a banger in Joseph Nurkic, 6'11" center. They get 3 guards, 3-point shooter Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and young forward Keon Johnson. So they're going to be a very, very different basketball team. But then again, look who they got in the offseason in their trades. And obviously they're really pleased with what their team's going to be, but the team's not going to have that type of post player that Ayton was. And Ayton was as good an athlete as Devin Booker and all the other guys that they've acquired. And of course, they do have Kevin Durant. So it was a shocker of a trade. There's fallout from the trade. Now Miami's got a problem. Jimmy Butler is really upset that they did not pay the price or find the third team to make this deal happen. How long is it? What's your watch say? How long before Jimmy Butler is going to stand up and say, I want out of Miami? And Tyler Hero, the young shooting guard who had big injuries last year, but really played well prior to that, he's unhappy now because he was in this trade and he was going to go somewhere else and get a new lease on life rather than be stuck behind the people they stuck behind in Miami. So didn't work out for Miami. Your response to the big three mailing address is now Milwaukee.
Yeah, well, first of all, for Lillard, he gets what he wanted, right? He wanted to have a chance at a championship. So for him, he probably wasn't expecting to go to Wisconsin, but it probably worked out. It seems like the Bucks, though, Giannis, what's his long-term future there? I think he only has a couple of years left. So this might be a tactic by the Bucks ownership to keep Giannis long-term. But I feel bad for the Trailblazer fan. I mean, I wonder what the reaction is in Portland to all of this.
Well, the fact is they had the superstar and they still were unable to put people around him. Portland must be a tough place to recruit free agents to go. So he had given him everything he could. He was a solid citizen. He was never a problem. He had opinions, which is okay. So at the end of the day, he leaves, but they do get a real haul back in terms of starting players. I mean, the potential of 3 starters in this transaction will be a very different team without Dame in the back court there in Portland. And I'm going to be intrigued to see what happens in Phoenix because, they had the new owner that came in at the end of the season and they paid an unbelievable price to get Kevin Durant out of Brooklyn. And so it's going to be a very different chemistry basketball team. We got a new owner walking in like, I know everything about everything and let's go make these deals. We'll see if it pans out. And of course, NBA camps are opening this weekend and into next week. And as we get going, we'll talk more about the Lakers and Clippers. But if you're a basketball fan, what do you think about Dame going to Milwaukee? Jump on board there with our fans forum.